So I've been testing a bunch of meal services, and now it's time for Factor 75, which I've actually been using for a few weeks at this point. Now, Factor is truly an impressive service. The food tastes absolutely amazing, they use healthy ingredients and cater to a bunch of diets. And even though the customer service isn't exactly perfect, it still gets the job done. So throughout this video, I'll be talking about the taste of the food, the quality of the ingredients, supported diets, pricing, and ultimately what makes Factor particularly unique compared to other similar services. I'll also be talking about the issues I have with the service, and of course, my personal recommendation from having used it for a few weeks at this point. So if that sounds good to you, let's dive right in. So Factor is a healthy meal service that ships meals designed by dietitians and cooked by chefs right to your door each week. The food arrives pre-cooked and only needs to be heated up in a microwave or oven. Now, depending on how much you're willing to spend, some meal delivery services don't put as much emphasis on whether or not the ingredients are organic. Factor is not one of those. They use organic ingredients in their meals, meaning there aren't any GMOs, hormones, preservatives, or even refined sugars, which is great. Now, I would have loved it if Factor also used wild-caught salmon in their meals, but unfortunately, as of now, they only use farmed Atlantic salmon. Hopefully, they'll start using wild-caught salmon in the future. But on the other hand, their meat comes from grass-fed and pasture-raised sources, and the chicken is also humanely raised. Okay, now when it comes to preparing the meals, all you need to do is heat them up by piercing the plastic film and putting them in the microwave on high for about 2 to 3 minutes. Or remove the film completely and put it in the oven for 5 minutes or so, which is what I'd recommend if you have a few extra minutes to do so for more even heating. Just make sure you remove sauce containers from meals that have them before heating up, since those are not heat friendly. Now, getting straight into the meals. Having ordered 4 meals in this box, the first thing I dug into was the Indian butter chicken. And honestly, this tasted almost identical to the butter chicken that I had at a favorite restaurant of mine that serves international food, except that this is just a little less spicy, which I actually prefer. The chicken was super tender, and the creamy sauce packed some herby dairy goodness that didn't feel too heavy on my stomach, and it went really well with everything. The next meal I had was the chicken fried rice. The chicken was well cooked with eggs and mixed veggies, as you would expect. Everything was very well seasoned without being overpowering, and it felt like with every bite I was getting a little bit of everything, so the ratio of ingredients was well balanced. I actually love this dish. It's easily one of my favorites. The next meal was the chicken Alfredo pasta, and I was wondering if they could get this one right, because a lot of times pre-cooked Alfredo chicken can be dry and the pasta can be overcooked. But in this case, the chicken was super tender and it easily broke apart, and the pasta was also perfectly cooked. Now, admittedly, it wasn't as flavorful compared to the other two, but a super solid dish overall. Now, lastly, I had the black pepper and sage pork chop, and to put it simply, I loved everything about this dish. I mean, I've had amazing pork chops before, and you could say that nothing really compares to chops fresh off the grill or pan. But these chops are actually close seconds to some of the best chops I've had. They were super tender and juicy with a nice char to them, and the Brussels sprouts and broccoli were just the cherry on top. I actually really like this dish. I would say it's easily a 9 out of 10. Okay, so the food is great. How does this all work? Well, it's super easy. You start by signing up on the website or mobile app, though if you end up trying Factor out, I'd recommend doing so on the website using the link below for a nice discount on your first order. Then you can choose from 5 set meal preferences, which are chef's choice, meaning these are well-balanced meals for any diet, keto, as in low-carb, high-fat meals, calorie smart, which includes meals no more than 550 calories, protein plus, with meals containing 30 plus grams of protein, or vegan and veggie, which is self-explanatory. Then you'll see how many meals you'd like to be delivered for the week. The minimum weekly requirement is 6 meals, but you can actually still lower that to 4 meals once you're signed up, which I'll talk a little more about later. And the maximum is 18 meals. Each meal is 1 serving, by the way. And the more meals you order, the cheaper the price per serving. Plus, you can order as many add-ons as you would like, but of course for an extra cost. Then comes the fun part where you get to choose from Factor's large menu of around 36 lunch and dinner options that rotate from week to week. And having taken a look at the recipes for the upcoming 2 weeks, I noticed 3 to 5 repeated meals, so there's always over 30 new options to choose from each week. And according to support, the chefs make the decisions based on popularity and what ingredients are available. Plus, they seem to add new meals from week to week. Now, a quick note for the vegans and vegetarians. Although the food is great, there's not much variety when it comes to vegan and veggie dishes. So to fill a box, you might end up double ordering 1 or 2 of the dishes. And something I really appreciate about Factor is that you can order add-ons which include extra protein portions, veggie sides, breakfast options, energy balls and desserts, fresh juices, shakes, and smoothies. While most other pre-cooked meal services like Fresh and Lean and Trifecta, for example, don't have much else on offer besides the meals themselves. Although I wish they highlighted the meals that align with dietary restrictions like gluten-free, dairy-free, and nut-free, they still provide allergens, nutritional information, a detailed description of each meal, as well as ingredients. Now, what I found impressive was how some of these meals have upwards of 18 to 30 ingredients, all of which are easily identifiable, and the ingredients are of the healthier versions of each ingredient, like their use of sea salt and whole milk, for example. And a great example of the variety is the chicken fried rice, which had 29 ingredients. Now, I can't imagine myself buying upwards of 29 to 30 ingredients to make this meal myself. So Factor makes it really convenient for me to try out all these really cool dishes without having to spend so much time preparing them myself. Besides that, you can pause and skip any weeks you like. You also get a free 20-minute consultation to help you figure out which meals best fit your needs and goals. And Factor is the only service I've seen that actually has this option, which goes to show how much care Factor puts into their customer experience. I really appreciate that. And of course, if you prefer to let Factor choose your meals for you, they'll select them based on your set diet preferences mentioned earlier. So if you go for Protein Plus, they'll select, the highest protein options. But even then, you can still modify your choices anytime before the weekly cutoff, which is at 11:59 p.m. Central Time on Wednesdays. Now, as far as delivery and packaging, the box was well insulated and had enough ice packs and kept everything under 41 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the interesting thing about the packaging is, unlike Fresh and Lean's vacuum seal packaging method, for example, which can be a little annoying to unpack, Factor uses modified atmosphere packaging, which is a technique typically used to prolong the food's shelf life by adjusting the gas mix in the packaging to slow down spoilage and maintain freshness. And this is done right after the cooking process is done. Then it's chilled and sent out in these boxes, which can maintain the freshness for up to 48 hours. So even if you're not home to pick up your food, you don't have to worry about the food getting spoiled. Plus, the food stays fresh for a whole week chilled in the fridge. But if you think you won't eat it in time, you can just freeze them for later. And yes, everything is recyclable except for what's inside the brown paper insulation, which should be just discarded in the trash. Okay, now what about the cost of Factor? Well, the cheapest price per meal you can get is $10.99. And as a reminder, one meal equals one serving. But to get access to that pricing, you'll need to order 18 meals per week. Now, the most expensive being $15 for 4 meals per week. And that's the minimum amount you can order. Now, when signing up, you may see that 6 is the minimum, but you can actually adjust it to 4 once you're signed up, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video. This option is not visible on the website when you're first choosing your preferences because it was recently added, but it will be updated soon so that it shows it even before signing up. And then the price just scales between $15 and $10.99 depending on the number of meals you order. And keep in mind that there's an $11 shipping fee with each order. So including shipping, the most you'd be paying for per meal would be $17.50 for 4 meals per week. And the least you'd be paying per meal is $11.61 for 18 meals per week. And by the way, as a reminder, if you want to give Factor a try, I was able to get a significant discount, which is a great way to test out Factor for the first week. And then you'll have a better idea of whether or not you want to continue with them. Now, with regards to customer service, one area of potential concern is while the live chat and phone support agents are very friendly and they do their best to help, during my interactions both via chat and phone, it was clear to me that I was speaking with non-native English speakers, which just caused me to rephrase some of my questions in a simpler way. It's a minor inconvenience, and it's just something I noticed. And honestly, as long as the food is great, I'm happy. But I thought it's just worth pointing out. But in case any of your meals arrived in bad condition, maybe it's above the recommended temperature that keeps it fresh, or it's just not well packaged, you can reach out to Factor via email, live chat, or just by calling them within 5 days of getting your meal box. And once they confirm your claim, they'll be absolutely happy to remedy the situation by replacing your meal for free or offering either a partial or full refund. And while I haven't had any issues with my delivery, I've heard from others that used Factor that in the rare instances when the packages got mishandled by the third-party delivery service, Factor were more than willing to compensate for the damages. So it's really nice to see that the customer service does what it's supposed to be doing very well regardless. So yeah, Factor is not entirely without its faults. Besides the customer service, the lack of gluten-free certification might deter people who can't consume gluten for health reasons. Also, there's not much variety in the veggie, vegan, and pescatarian meals. Now, on some weeks there will be more fish dishes than others, and some shrimp dishes here and there, but not much overall. And obviously, if you're looking to learn some hands-on cooking skills, this really won't be the ideal choice. Also, if you're on a diet that doesn't really allow for seasoning, or if you're just looking for unseasoned food, then you're probably better off going with a service like Fresh and Lean. And if you're looking to customize your meals, then you can go with something like MegaFit. Now, having said that, would I recommend Factor? Absolutely. This is arguably the best pre-cooked food I have had so far, and it's fantastic for individuals, couples, or even families who want to eat clean and don't have the time to do it maybe. And it works great for me personally, as I can spend more time working and just maintaining and even upping my productivity, knowing that I'm not falling short on health or nutrition. So Factor really hit a home run here, especially when it comes to the quality and taste. And while there are other services that deliver pre-cooked meals, none have matched the taste or the post-meal satisfaction I've experienced with Factor. And so if you're looking to have high quality, tasty, ready-to-eat meals that you can eat with minimal effort, then Factor is well worth the price, and I highly recommend it. So that'll be it for this video. Again, if you guys are interested in Factor, you'll find a great discount in the description down below. And if you've enjoyed this video or learned something, feel free to like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And comment below if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer all of them. Besides that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.